By Christmas, West Ham were on a winning streak and second top of the league. Frank was the first division's leading scorer, but there was a problem. No one had seen his goals unless they were at the matches. This was a unique period when TV didn't want to cover football. Broadcasters wouldn't pay what the clubs wanted, a mere $4 million, so no football on TV. So the McAvennie motto, "Blondes have more fun," had yet to reach the nation's living rooms.
On London's Waterloo Bridge, the presence of the First Division's leading scorer scarcely raised a flicker of attention. Without the publicity of televised goals, one of the most successful recent signings from Scotland has arrived unseen by a mass audience.
So we got our reporter and took Frank out onto the street and they say, "You a West Ham fan?" "Oh yeah, I'm a West Ham fan, yeah." "What about Frank McAvennie?" "Ah, great goal scorer. What a player he is, eh? What a good signing."
McAvennie, that's it, yeah.
"Do you know who this is here?" Now Frank's standing beside the reporter and they went, "No, I don't know him." He says he's Frank McAvennie.
Did it surprise you to know that this is Frank McAvennie? You have got to be joking.
Well, we did that with so many people, and they all went through the same gambit. Great player, super, great signing for the Hammers. "Do you know this guy?" "No."
Frank's agent realised that TV was the answer to celebrity. Frank was booked on Wogan, the chat show of the 80s. An audience of 15 million tuned in.
Now, you're the name on everybody's lips at the moment. Yeah. Why?
I think it's because it's so hard to say, I think.
He did well in Wogan, and Frank loved all that sort of thing. He loved all the accolades and all the fame and the recognition. But we had to build on it. We'd heard that some of these EastEnders people were big West Ham fans.
And there was only one show bigger than Wogan, EastEnders, the top soap playing to audiences of 26 million.
Bleeding sure. And who should walk through the door but Frank? And he wanted his picture to be taken with me. And I thought, hey, Frank wants his picture taken with me. I want my picture taken with Frank.
Frank was quickly becoming the East End of London's most famous personality. But Dirty Den was already the nation's favourite rogue.
You haven't even got a sex life. And you can't have a marriage without that, can you?
Some people do.
Not me.
Frank said to me, "You know, you're the Frank McAvennie of the acting profession." And I said, "No, Frank," I said, "you're the Dirty Den of the football fraternity."
Kick it!
Frank was top boy in London, so every time there was a function, there was a film premiere, Frank would say, "Come on boys, we're going to this, we're going to that," and obviously there'd come at a stage where we had to go to some of them. "Hold on, Frank, you know, some of us have got to go home."
This was one of the places Frank called home, a Greek restaurant in the heart of the East End, where glamour, crime and football could come together.
Cheers, nice to see you again, boys.
The Phoenix was kind of a glitzy place, you know. It was like the West End comes to East London. I should think every celebrity in the world had been in there. And there was always parties there and all that. And Frankie would be sort of mooching about somewhere, you know, with one on his arm, sometimes two. That was his character, you know.
You gotta fight for your right to
It was quite funny because most of us were married men with kids, and, you know, all our wives would say, "You going out to a club function?" We say, "Yeah." And they say, "You going with Frank?" "Oh, no, Frank's not going. Don't worry about it. No, Frank's not going."
I think one of the best nights was your engagement, Frank. What one?
Right there. You never saw him with an ugly woman. Never with a shop girl from Marks and Spencer's, or for, you know, the girl who works in at the petrol station. He was all with paid 3 girls. Some of them, I think, were paid 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 girls.
He's lived out the dream of every football fan. He comes to London, gets off with, you know, I think he once boasted that he'd slept with 500 women. I mean, I can easily believe that.
I'm a man, you know. Who doesn't like girls? Well, certainly some people, but not me.
Frank certainly had stamina, but in the 80s, a whole generation of footballers played hard and partied harder.
There were players in those days who had the capacity to have a good drink, but they were able to sweat it off, and they were great athletes. I can tell you many. You know, the Everton side that did wonderfully well in the mid-80s had some very tough characters in there who lived life to the full, but were still a brilliant team, had a great camaraderie, which came, maybe perversely, as a result of this type of lifestyle off the field.
I mean, Frank was in no way unusual. He was typical of many, many, many footballers who played hard and partied hard. He came to West Ham in 1985. Very soon after that, Alex Ferguson arrived at Manchester United, and he famously described Manchester United as more of a social club than a football club, because several of his very well-known international players at the time would go on all-day benders. It was Brian Robson, the club captain, and then England captain, Paul McGrath, the wonderful Republic of Ireland centre-half, and Norman Whiteside, who played for Northern Ireland. And a lot of the Arsenal players in particular. Tony Adams, by his own admission, a legendary drinker who, went off the rails. Paul Merson.
I think managers were pretty relaxed about players socialising at the time as well. Although they come down on hard if you got caught out, they didn't actively tell you not to do it. They wouldn't say, no, don't go out and drink.